be dead in the next 15 minutes, and then we can go back to talking about games instead of playing them.
Well, that was the adventure. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I think did I get it right? Ben, are you the caller tonight? It was.
I think Ben might be unconscious right now.
That's also a problem. So I think it loops back after that to being. Who was next? Is it Alex? Perseus? Are you were you the first group caller? Does it loop back?
Yeah.
Sort of. Not the prologue session, but the one where we're carousing. I was.
Okay. That would be the first one. Then would you be okay with kind of switching? Just
I think I could do that.
Since the okay. What happened last time?
Last time we got to our destination, we got to the caldera of the volcano and saw the ship ahead of us. We were in a bit of a hurry. I want to say, was it Dex had already gotten knocked out at that point just because of the hazards of wilderness travel. But we cleared out the ship, made sure that there was nothing hiding in there that was going to mess with us. We surveyed all of its damage and the things we're going to have to repair and all that. We did shoo off some porgs and a dog. And there was a big chunk of the session. We were just one by one, slowly repairing whichever baseline systems we needed in order to get it up and running. The intention being that we would just get it back into town so we could have the comfort of taking more time and having more resources to do the job justice. But after, oh boy, we overworked ourselves. We were all sleep deprived. We had to take a nap, and then we lost a bunch of our food because we didn't lock the door. And then the volcano started erupting, so we decided that we needed to rush the rest of it, fly away. As we were getting out of there, we got some transmissions from the dictator of the planet. They asked if we could still gather the survey data for them because it would save lives. We put it to a vote, which ultimately came down to a die roll, and we decided to go do it. Then we got further transmissions about, there were some folks that didn't live in the settlements who were heading towards one of the ones that was, or the one that was in the path of the pyroclastic flow. So we're like, let's go pick them up, hopefully get them safe. And then again, we got another transmission about, I can't think of her name, but she was the nice Vargar lady who gave us a ride a couple sessions ago. And we were like, she's in danger too with her parents, let's go pick her up. Lot of getting damaged by some of the volcanic activity, and where last we left off, I believe we were heading towards the water, but we got caught in the flow, got knocked around a good amount, and a bunch of people got knocked unconscious, not just our passengers, but some of us players.
Yeah, I had misspoke last time because I, basically have this model of when and how the volcano would explode. And at first I thought, oh, you could make it to the water. And then I looked at it and I looked at your time. I'm like, nope, no, you can't. And so you had turned into the actual blast, this kind of storm coming from the volcano as it erupts. And whoops, that's not it. Come on. As you kind of Cleon tried to align the front of the ship with this blast in the hopes that maybe you could, keep at least flying aerodynamically by flying directly in the direction of the blast. And that did work, sort of, but it also, you did get struck with this impact. And so Vargar, Fly, and the ship, some of them are knocked unconscious. Dex had just moments before your door jammed, by the way. And so Dex was a big damn hero and went in the back and got the door unjammed so that he saved several Vargar lives. And then sadly, I think Dex is also unconscious and maybe severely wounded at this point also, which we'll talk about.
I think I'm just unconscious, but you can correct me.
No, I hope so. Yeah. Do you remember how much damage you took? If it went into your third stat, you're severely wounded. If it went into your second stat, you're just unconscious.
You said because like I think you changed you changed the way that you were going to do that instead of rolling randomly, but
Right.
the outcome was that I have a 7 on strength, and you know what? Maybe I didn't write that down as to why I'm unconscious.
It's okay. I think the math would dictate that. I think one of your stats is probably at 0. And so long as I didn't tell you that you went into your third stat. Like if
I think it was endurance. I think it was endurance that I was 0.
All right.
And then
so you're unconscious currently, and the other person that got struck unconscious is Cleon struck the front of the flight controls and probably smashed open one of the display panels with his skull, where it's shattered now, and he's bleeding out over the flight controls, and now this thing, and you're now diving straight towards the ground. The change in acceleration is making it to where you're pushed almost back against the seat as you're hurtling towards the ground blindly through this storm. And I have that you had not achieved altitude yet. You basically had just had to respond to this. So as it stands, only one person can make one attempt to fix the flight controls. And somebody probably needs to pull Cleon off the controls, and somebody needs to get on there and fly. That's what my guess. But I'm open to ideas. I'm not sure what else you could do.
If I recall correctly, the ones actually in the cockpit right now are Cleon, Books, and Jackson. Is that right?
Yeah, everybody but Dex. Cleon, Jackson,
Dex
Books, and Perseus.
Well, I was back in working on the engines, doing the mechanic stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think you had to go back there to do that. You didn't have to go back there to do that. Is what I.
Okay.
Yeah, you were doing that from the cockpit.
So at the end of my notes, I've got Jackson will run to the flight controls first thing next session. So, yeah, I will dump Cleon's body out of the flight control chair and start pulling up as hard as I can.
All right. Okay, so Jackson comes up, pulls Cleon out, and jumps into the seat. Someone needs to. The flight controls have actually malfunctioned and been damaged. Somebody needs to fix that.
We can't work together, you said? It's got to be one person?
No, somebody else could do this task, absolutely.
Gotcha. Books, are you more qualified than I? All I got is electronics as a skill.
I don't have anything special here.
All right, I'll jump in. You stay on the radio just in case we hear something.
Okay, Perseus, that would be a engineering check. You throw 8+ on 2d6.
All right. Nope, 5.
5. It hurtles helplessly toward the ground. And 2 things happen from there. Let's see here. Oh my. Let's see. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. 2 people are now not strapped in. 3 people are not strapped in. 4 people. 2 of which are unconscious.
Good game, folks. Good game.
So you
I mean, if anyone's watching this on YouTube, they can already see the length of the video and they know how this is going to end.
You strike the ground, which at least you had not gained a lot of altitude yet. The ship is able to endure it. I will also do some damage, see what damage it does to the ship. Let's leave that for last, because I think this is probably the only part that's going to matter. Okay. You are oriented toward the flow, so it's at 2D. So everyone not strapped in will take the following damage. 9 damage. For those that are unconscious, how are you doing? Is anybody...
I think I'm dead.
Really?
Yeah, because, well, actually, I'm sure I'm dead because we had said the endurance was at 0, and then I had 7, 8, 9 left in strength and dexterity, so I'm at 0, and I think I'm probably 1 or 2 more than that.
Well, you have 1 in dex, I remember.
I had 2 marked here, but if I got 1, that means 8. So, and then I'm pretty sure that I got an 11 damage or a 12 damage, and so that would be, you know, -2 in one of my other ones. So let's say 7, 6, 5, 1 strength, and then I've got a 1 in dexterity, so that would be 4. I've got I've got like 6 left.
Nice. Okay. Well, then you are severely wounded.
Okay.
Just to clarify, we subtract damage from our endurance first.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. I'm going to pick endurance first. It says the referee picks. I was rolling, but I'm going to say it starts with that.
I'm doing just fine right now.
Ross, you said the ones that are not strapped in. Who's currently strapped in out of us?
The only ones not strapped. So you're strapped in. The people not strapped in are the people that just got up. Ben, Alex, and Perseus, Jackson, and Dex. So yeah, Books is strapped in.
Okay.
Yeah. Anytime you would do any kind of critical maneuver, even if you were taking off, landing, or entering a jump transit, you would always strap in and put your vac suit on in case something like this happens. Okay, so everybody's either... Did anyone go unconscious that was not strapped in?
I've got a 0 in endurance, but I don't think that makes me unconscious.
Yeah, you'd be unconscious.
I am? Okay. Yeah.
All right, so 2 pilots down. And then...
So if I take 9... Sorry, I'm trying to calculate this. So if I take 9 damage, I would take it off endurance first, right? So that takes me down to 0 endurance.
Okay.
And then I would lose 3 more from another physical stat?
Yeah.
All right, so that takes me down to a total of 1 strength, 0 dexterity, and 0 endurance.
You are severely wounded.
1 hit point left.
Yeah. Hopefully nothing else happens, but I hate to say, I think something else is about to happen. We'll talk about that in a second.
You have the power. You're the referee. You don't have to hope. You can just say.
I don't. No, the great thing is a lot of this, I don't know it's going to happen either. That's the fun part. Okay, so, and then how is Perseus? I'm just trying to get a sense of who's unconscious right now.
I'm doing just fine.
Great.
I have 5 in strength, 10 in dex, and my endurance is now reduced to 3.
Nice. Okay, great.
I'm
you're
a tough guy.
Yeah, your ears are ringing as you probably your head and your body strikes into the bulkhead, but you're still up there. You and Books right now are the only people left after this. The whole thing shakes and it's tossed up into the air. And what it does is it careens in this blast and falls into the lake upside down. And you just start sinking into the lake. And and I'm going to see what happens to the ship because that will decide, hopefully. And was any system rushed? I forgot that too. Wasn't one system rushed? One of them was.
Yeah, whatever. The very last thing for us to take off from the volcano.
Okay.
It was either the power or the drive or something along those lines.
I think we didn't do like checks or something before we took off.
Yeah,
so,
we definitely did not do checks before we took off. We took off as fast as we could.
Yeah, so we'll say it's the power because I'm not sure which system, but I know one was rushed. So Perseus, just for your note here, -2 on any check related to changes in power, and then the flight control system kind of gets damaged even worse, and the flight controls, like the automatic electronic flight control system that kind of manages the feedback and everything, reverses, and the screens flicker and reverse, and some of the screens go out, and then sparks fly out for one die damage. So this is from the avionics bay is where this stuff comes from. So I'm going to roll randomly to see who it is, because I think that there is near there now Cleon, Perseus, and Jackson. So I'm going to roll a D3. So it would go Perseus, Cleon, Jackson. Perseus, Cleon, Jackson. So this goes to Jackson. Jackson, you take 4 damage as sparks spray out after you're knocked unconscious into the flight controls. Otherwise, it's okay. You're just upside down sinking underwater without controls now, and several people are
that's
unconscious.
fine. That's no thanks. Whatever. All right. A couple questions. Are we clear of volcanic material at this point?
Yes. In fact, I think I have... Oh, I think I have something for this.
It's going to be the next iconic game mastering line. After Matt Mercer gave us so many, it's going to be, oh, I have a thing for this.
Oh, no. This is just some old underwater art. Actually, that looks kind of weird. Let me get... this is fine. Okay, so here you are underwater, ship's upside down, people unconscious, lights are flickering, flight control systems are broken, sparks are flying out of the avionics bay. And let me bring... You're not able to receive any basic kind of checks. But the ship flips upside down, and so now... actually, let me go back to that page. This would be more helpful. It's kind of hard to imagine, but imagine that this is upside down. So you're kind of on the ceiling now. Everybody's fallen upside down on the ceiling.
And it's sinking?
And it's sinking, yeah. Which is not bad as long as there's not a hull breach. Because these, and also as long as you don't, somehow you need to either get rescued or get out of this thing or get it working.
Would we be able to send or receive transmissions in any way?
You can, but you notice that kind of those long, kind of primitive band transmissions like AM that you were talking to weather stations and radios and stuff like that with, those are not working, at depth like this. Your kind of tech level 9, tech level 10 radio systems that you could do the starport might work. I'm gonna say might on that. Are you gonna?
I guess.
Yeah.
I think the first priority, just trying to think of threat levels here, because there's only 2 of us conscious now. Books, you and me, we're going to do a sweep of the ship to look for any breaches in the hull. If we find any, we need to close off that chamber by whatever means we have. I hope that every single door could airtight seal within this, but...
Am I conscious? Because I'm severely wounded.
You're unconscious, yeah. And for some reason, I think your thing switched back to... Oh, is your mic... it's up. It's up. You got to flip it down. That's what it is.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go. Nice. Okay. Yeah, he's unconscious. But you said anyways, you and Books, right? Because you're the only ones that are, awake. Okay, so
I still have the fishing line. If that helps in any way, with the people that are unconscious. I don't know if we want to round them up and kind of tie them together. At some point, if we need to escape this thing.
That's step 2. I think.
Okay.
Find breaches, then secure everybody, then try to get a transmission out, then talk about what we can do to save the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, so let's see here. You start going back through the ship to see, really quick, and immediately you do see where there's. You also hear some screaming. Let me see what else is going on with the Vargar. Someone is begging for their life. Please, please help us. You hear that behind a door. People were smart enough to go into the staterooms and strap themselves in to chairs and beds and stuff. And it's dark, and you're on the ceiling, and then something really bad happens. You notice that the ceiling where you're standing, and then the doors to the staterooms are up above you to the left and right. The ceiling has water puddles. And you realize that's probably why you're sinking at all. These things are not supposed to sink, actually. They're supposed to float if this were to happen. Unless you intentionally fly it down into the water. And if you go back here, it doesn't take long. You see like there are Vargar here helping each other. They've got Dex. They're trying to help Dex. Dex is unconscious. And all of them are kind of confused and in disarray. They don't seem like they're able to help with the situation. You get about this far, and there's this vertical, I can't remember what these are called, these tubes, these vertical things in a ship you can go up and down on. And that's where you find the hard point was ripped off the ship.
Gotcha. All right. We want to put seal on that. We need to plug a hole. Do we think it'd be sufficient to push something onto it just to cover it up, or do we need to like properly weld that thing closed or something along those lines?
What do you think, Books?
I think. Well, I was thinking that I know you said the Vargar are kind of not in a position to help us, but it might be good to see if I don't know if there's anybody that could, like, more hands are better than one. If there's anybody that might be willing to kind of help us work this stuff out. But I'm thinking in regards to Chapman's question, if the way pressure works, I think if we have something that's bigger than the breach, that should kind of help make it stay in place. I'm not certain, but I'm just trying to think about the little I know about this kind of stuff. So yeah, I say something bigger than the breach, kind of plugging the hole.
All right, it needs to fit into this hallway. They probably just need to grab it from somewhere else here. Unless, just to ask about the floor plan of the ship here. One, am I correct in assessing this spot right here as being a door?
Yes, I think it's called, I can't remember the type of door, but it's a sealed door that can go like this. So it's, yeah.
Actually,
iris. It's called an iris hatch. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm reading the key, and now I'm actually thinking that none of the things back here are going to be movable. Also, they're kind of essential. Okay. Let's take a look in the workshop. Look around for something big and heavy that's like at least one dimension big enough to seal the breach and that we can carry over there. If we need to pull some Vargar to help us carry, that's fine.
One Vargar is very quick to volunteer, and goodness help me, I'm trying to... it is, of course, Lothak, who jumps to your assistance, and you guys go in here, and she... you see that this thing is made of metal. You think that so there's like emergency equipment on the walls, and it is normal to have as emergency equipment a sealing patch, and you would just like spot weld it really quick in place if there's a hull breach. But there's this is where this entire tube is, and water spraying in and the ship sinking, and a whole portion of that space where the hard point would be is filling up with water. So this is going to, and in fact, not only are you on the ceiling, but the ship is also slowly listing aft, towards as it's starting to fill up in the rear. So anyways, you see that there's this big metal table here where people could eat. And you think if you could get that knocked loose fast enough, you could drag it in there and then use the emergency equipment to spot weld it up to at least stop it from taking on more water.
Gotcha. You said to get it loose, is it like welded to the...
It's bolted to
ground?
the...
Yeah.
Sorry, that's right.
That
It's
makes
bolted
sense. And
to
it's
the
above us.
ceiling. It's above you. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point. So you got to get up there and then either knock it loose and get it down or something.
Okay. Books, do you have any particular tools that would be helpful for this?
I do not. I just have the basic stuff that we all had.
have a tool set?
But I don't have any. I do not have a tool set.
Okay. I do. So if you can give me
I do have a lock pick set. I don't know. Actually, no, that won't really probably have
yeah, it's
anything in it.
padlocked to the ground.
So wait, you, Perseus, you have a tool set, like a mechanical toolkit?
No, electronic tool set. Sorry,
Oh gosh, okay.
2 lines.
All right.
Well, this is a workshop, right? Like, is there not, at the very least, like screwdrivers around here somewhere? Something to we said bolted to the ground, but
Yeah, you can. And these are all up above you on the ceiling as well. But this is a galley, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things that you can use as toolkits and stuff. Yeah, you search around and you're able to find stuff. I think that this is a matter of like how fast you can get this done.
So what I'm thinking is, just as a problem-solving thing, you prioritize first if you can find the exact right tool meant for this job, unbolting it in whichever way it's secured. Failing that, though, a substitution won't be as effective as just getting a bludgeon and hammering it loose.
That's a great
connection.
suggestion. I like that. And so we'll do a 2d6, and both of you can do this. So if it works out, first of all, 2d6 toss to get 8. If you get an 8, then you're going to find what you're looking for. If not, then you'll be able to knock it loose, but it's going to take some time.
Also, I have a medium range communicator. I just realized will that help us in this situation? I know that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I just wanted to say that before I forgot.
Oh, nice, Books. You got a 9. Great. Okay, so you find the tool that you need. You climb up there. As it's getting wet down below you, it's getting up to your ankles, and then the ship is kind of like listing backwards, so you have to like kind of pull yourself up. You get this stuff off the wall. And then you have to help each other up onto the table that's bolted to the ceiling, and then you have to undo it while you're on it, and then fall with it into the water, and then drag it over here to get it welded onto this hole. Now, medium range communicator. So somebody, she will take if you let her.
It is 30-kilometer range.
Oh, well, maybe. Let me see. Let me roll my dice for that. No.
If you can bounce that around, maybe.
Yeah. Not with that, and not yet. But with this right now, Lothak, she holds this thing up pretty strong. If somebody will weld it.
All right. I'll weld it. I don't think it makes a huge difference.
Okay. You're able to do that, and you weld it into this is, in this case, actually the floor, which is underwater. So you have to push it down and then probably hold it above the water, which is really awkward and slower and less effective. And then, before it starts filling all the way up, where you're not going to be able to do it. And anyways, you manage to do that and you weld it shut. So, let's see here. The drive system with the impact, you can tell, not only is it smashed, but the drive system is full of water. You can actually smell ozone as water connects with live current in places, and it would
jeez.
probably be a really hazardous place to try to go back in the drive section. Now, a few options though. One option is, first of all, I think it's in 3 hours, but we'll just say here in a little while, basically an hour or two, anyone unconscious will become conscious again if you're not severely wounded, with half of your stat that went to 0. Anyone severely wounded, which I think is Cleon and Dex, you cannot come back until you get intensive long-term medical care. So you'll have to go to the hospital and you'll be there rehabilitating for a long time. Let's see.
Oh, want to recap a few things. 1, did we successfully seal this breach?
Yes.
All right. 2, are we confident that there's no more water coming in?
You could probably check the system synoptics page to see the status of systems to get an indication of if something is exposed to water. Because if it's working, then it won't be.
Yeah, I just need to make sure, like, we want to keep the situation from declining further.
Getting worse.
As long as we can seal everything, hypothetically, no more water coming in means the ship is going to balance out at some depth.
All right.
It won't sink any further, and that's just what we need so that, like, we have a stable scenario and can take our time with the next steps.
You cycle through the synoptics page that you can bring up from the captain's chair here, and you can see that the fuel processors have a fault in them, but you're already aware of that. The drive system has a fault you're already aware of, but every other system, the hard point is showing that the system has a suite of pressure sensors. Some of them already had faults, but there are no new pressure sensor problems, which would lead you to believe very quickly those pressure sensors would indicate a problem. So you're pretty confident that there's not some other breach.
All right, I want to thank and congratulate my first mate, Books, and our new quartermaster, Lothak.
Really? She says, really?
I mean, under the current circumstances, I'm just trying to make sure that we have all our bases accounted for.
She's like, I could be a traveler.
We very well may need to recruit soon, so yes, we have some openings. Now, is there an intercom system for the ship, and is it working?
Yeah, you check the intercom, and it is working.
All right, gonna try to address everyone on board, all these Vargar, all these people we've picked up, and try to reassure everybody that the best thing to do right now is for everyone to try to act calmly, follow instructions. The fact that we've made it this far is a miracle, and as long as we keep our wits about us, we're going to make it out of this. We want to, I ask if, like, we need to enlist all of your efforts, everyone here, in making sure those of us who have been injured are kept from any further harm, stabilized to the best of our abilities and resources, and then stand by to be available to help us in whatever capacity you're able, as we try to figure out what we need to do in order to get out of this.
Lothak, she's like, just let me know what you need. And she's ready to kind of run and organize people for whatever you need to do.
Yeah, and carrying out what I just indicated, whichever of the Vargar have gotten knocked unconscious. I don't know where the best place to put them is, but...
That's so weird.
Wow.
All of them fall down from stress. They're actually Chihuahuas. They're not the hardiest Vargar.
The most anxious type of Vargar we could have had in this scenario.
Okay. Yeah. All right. What next? What do you think, Books?
I'm sorry. I think so far so good. I think now that the breach is taken care of, I think we should focus on trying to make communication and getting all of our people in the Vargar rescued. Also, I was wondering if we're not able to make any if we're not able to have success on our first try, maybe we could recruit some of the Vargar, see if any of them have any, special skills with, I don't know,
I was just going to say, from
communication.
here on out, if we can survey from our pool of people, whoever may be the most qualified for any given task, we want the best chance possible of succeeding at things on our first try. I don't know if any of these people are like AV nerds or anything, or
unfortunately they're all farmers and fishermen, but they are rugged people and they're tough, and they can move things and they can figure things out if you need them to. They also,
do you think we should
notice that they do have this tendency to just stand around and wait until you tell them what to do.
Their tails wagging. Sorry.
Do you think we should have the Vargar start working on like fashioning like some kind of like cots or something for the wounded, something that just in case like we have to get out of this thing quickly, they could be kind of tied in. Like, because I do have that fishing line, maybe we could use that to our advantage, give it to them and let them go wild, like creating something with it.
Because I think last session you'd remarked, Russ, that there might not actually be enough places to sit down and buckle up when we lift off for as many people who are on here.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Well, like, whatever happens to us, there's always a possibility that the ship is going to be rapidly moving in whatever direction at some point again. And I don't want us to be short of buckles.
And there's a couple of things, but I want to zoom out for a second. What's the overall plan? Like, I can frame some options here. Are you going to try to recover the ship and get it active and under power? Or are you going to try to figure out how to send a transmission and wait for help? Or are you going to try to evacuate? Probably the worst option would be to not do anything and sink to the floor of the ocean. And then the ship eventually get crushed, from pressure and new leaks and stuff, etc.
How far are we from shore, by the way?
You don't know. That's a good question.
We don't know.
But you do have some computer systems here, and this is an Imperial Scout Courier, so it has powerful sensors. So you do know where you are in terms of 3D space. You are, if you look at the navigation page, the local one, it gives you information that suggests that you are about 10 kilometers from Barvin and about a total of 15 kilometers from the center of Mount Solbari. You're probably about 150 kilometers away from Walston capital, Central Lake City.
All right. I think it's not necessarily an either-or situation. We can try to get a transmission out, wait to hear back, and in the meantime do what we can to maybe repair systems on the ship to get it either upright or lifted up or able to progress through water.
Okay. What do you think about that, Books?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think we definitely want to get communication going. Also, I was thinking too, like while we're doing that and while we're doing the other stuff, it may be a good idea to start taking stock and seeing if there's anything we could use to kind of maybe build a raft, just in case we could tie. I keep going back to the stupid fishing line, but maybe we could tie some stuff. I just really want to use it.
The answer's on your character sheet. It's there somewhere.
So I see what you're saying. No, all three of those things, prepare for all three eventualities, like rescue, getting under power, and worst case scenario, getting things ready to get out of here if you have to. That probably has to happen soon. Like either if you get the thing, if it doesn't work to come online, you probably either have to do it now or you won't be able to, because I mean, you'll get crushed. You won't be able to make it out. So, okay, if that's the case, someone needs to roll, and don't tell me the results yet, and I'm not going to look at them on the VTT because I'm going to do something else. Someone needs to be the comms person and try to get a signal out. This will be like your high-tech signal that will go to the starport. Part of this role is to hope that you can reach somebody at that sleepy starport and somebody's actually sitting there paying attention. The other person might want to see if you can come up with a plan on how you will approach the drive system, get the power back online to be able to get the ship moving. get the ship moving under power. So I'll toss that over to you guys. Well, who would do what, and then and then we're gonna do something else. Oh, and I should also note at this point, maybe about an hour's passed. Jackson, you're back. But Jackson, did you lose anything into your third stat when you got hit with the sparks?
No, I'm at 0 on endurance and I'm at 6 on strength.
All right, you're now at whatever half your endurance was, and you're back and you're conscious. So who's going to do the comms and who's going to try to work on the drives?
Books, you go ahead and do the comms. Jackson and I are going to start working on the drives, and we'll ask if any of these farmers can help us if they know anything about this.
All right. Meanwhile, for the severely wounded, we're going to roll new characters because you're going to be in the hospital for a long time.
You might as well get started on that.
Yeah, no, we will. We'll bounce back and forth. Let's see here. All right. Start with Matthew. Well, actually, everybody, go ahead and roll your strength, dexterity, endurance, intelligence, education, and social.
Yeah, it doesn't make it. I call his cutlass.
And don't worry, we're not going to go all the way through. We're going to kind of like pan the camera back and forth this way everybody gets to play, you know. And just let me know when you're ready, and we'll keep going. We'll do like a term each, and then we'll pan the camera back to everybody on the ship.
I'm rolling now. Oh, not bad. Okay, so I got 10 strength, 9 dexterity, 7 endurance, 7 intelligence, 8 education, and 4 social.
All right. Kind of the opposite.
Pretty above average.
Yeah, it is above average.
Yeah.
Endurance, education. Is it intelligence education or? Well, I guess I can bring it up here. Intelligence education. Okay. All right. And what'd you get, Matt? Still working on it. All right. We'll go ahead with Ben here. Ben, which service?
Let's see. Let's try the scouts.
All right, 2d6.
Two.
You failed to get in the scouts. You're drafted. Let's see. I hope you get it. Let's get a criminal going here. We haven't had one too. No, you got drafted into.
There you go.
You got drafted into the Marine Corps. Roll a 2d6 to see if you can survive.
8.
8. You survive. 2d6 for commission. See if you become a lieutenant.
9.
9 you do. 2d6 to see if you become a captain.
11.
You're a captain in the Marine Corps. Wow. All right. So right off
Things
the bat,
worked out well.
yeah, you got.
Who were you thinking trying out for the Scouts? Your true calling it was always in the Marines.
Clearly.
Your initial term of service, you got 2, and then you for the first one, let's see, you got 4 to start. You also have some automatic ones. You are a Marine, so you automatically get Cutlass 1, and you're a Marine Lieutenant, so you get Revolver 1. And
Cool.
And you start out, you can pick 4 of these. And let's see, your education is 8, so you can pick any of these tables in any order of 4 of them. Personal developments, I don't know if you have the book open. I can call them out if it helps.
I don't have the book with me at the moment.
No problem. So it's so there's 4 options. Advanced education, what I call college, which is stuff like kind of college-y stuff, and then you've got advanced education, which is more technical, and then you've got service skills, which is like gun combat stuff mostly, and then you've got personal development, which mostly is about improving your attribute scores. And you can do any number of those in any order.
Okay. Let's start off with 2 combats and see what that takes me.
All right, 2d6s.
I got an 11 and then a 3.
Oh, what's the? I'm sorry. I should say not 2d6s. 1d6 twice. Sorry, my bad.
Okay, got it. We'll try it again. 1 and then a 3.
All right, you have ATV 1 and blade combat, so you immediately have to declare your type of weapon. If you take Cutlass 2 or Cutlass, you'll have Cutlass 2 right off the bat. You have.
Of course, I will take that.
All right, so you now have Cutlass 2, and you have 2 more skill things you can roll.
Let's see. What's the one that was? There was college, and there was the one that was beyond college, like specialist stuff.
Yeah, you have like.
Let's do one of those.
Okay.
Uh, 4.
4, you get Tactics 1.
Okay.
And you got 1 more.
1, and then I'll do the same table again.
All right.
1.
1, you have Vehicle 1, which I believe we're supposed to declare, but we'll just keep it as that for now. I think one of the things everybody picked last time was Grav Belt 1, but you could also do either air car, I think air raft. I don't know if that's listed separately, but yeah, air raft is listed
Could I put it on
separately.
ATV to be?
Yeah, I'm down with that actually.
Could I put it on ATV to be really good?
Yeah, it'd be like ATV 2.
I mean, this would be metagaming, but I'm sure pretty soon we're going to be looking for like a really good pilot. Should have always had one of those with us.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of sine qua non to this game, isn't it? Somebody's got to be able to drive the starship and do the traveling bit. Okay, so that's all of that. Now, 2d6 to see if they stop loss you.
11.
An 11, they don't stop loss you. You have the option of doing another term or mustering out.
Do another term.
All right. In that case, I'm going to pan over to Matt to do 1 term. Matt, what's your stats?
Okay. I have strength is a 7. Dexterity is 11. Endurance 9. Intelligence 8. Education 6. And social is 9.
Okay. Oh, 9. Okay. All right. Which service?
I'm going to go for merchants.
Merchants, nice. 2d6. And let's see, you have intelligence 8, so you get a plus 2.
Okay. I rolled a 10, so it's a 12.
Nice.
So I get in.
All right. And you also get a plus 2 to your survival on a 2d6.
Sorry, what did I say? Did I
Merchants?
did I say scouts or merchants?
You said merchants. You want to do scouts?
Okay, merchants.
Okay.
Yeah, merchant. Okay. And survival. survival, I get 8.
8. All right, that passes, and then 2d6 for commission, which you also get a +1 on.
I got a 6, 7 total.
A 7. You are now because I'm not as familiar with this, a 4th officer. Now let's see if you get promoted. This one's much harder.
Okay.
You got a +1 on it. I think No, you don't, actually.
Okay. Nope, don't do it.
All right, you're a 4th officer in the Merchant Marines. You have initial term 2, and you got commissioned, so you get 3. And because you're a merchant, you don't get any rank or service skills, so you can pick one of 3 of these tables.
Okay, the first 3 tables.
All right.
See, what have I got? Okay, I'm going to do... what do we need in the group?
Pilot. Medic.
Okay.
Medic would be really
Not that
good.
that would affect my choice in any way.
Well, they would probably hire somebody that's qualified, right? So I don't think it's metagaming.
Okay. Okay, we'll do.
Volcanologist.
Okay, so I've got pilot, navigator, engineer, and medic. We'll just do electronic.
No, you pick one of the 4 tables.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And you'd roll a d6. And you could do one of the tables 3 times, or one of the tables twice, and another one once, or in any order that you want.
But I get 3 of them, right?
You get 3 of them, and you have
Okay.
education 6, so you can't use the 4th table.
Right. Okay, so we're going to do table 3.
All right.
I got a 4.
4
Sorry, I
is...
forgot how to do that. Navigation.
So now you're at navigation 2, which will matter here soon.
Okay, how did I get navigation 1?
I give all the basic skills automatically.
Oh, okay. And then I got a 6 for table 2.
6 for table 2, gun combat. So you pick a weapon, and you have dexterity 11, so you can use every gun with a bonus, every single gun.
Okay, let's just take what was the do I actually get the weapon?
No,
Or I don't have the weapon.
but you can purchase it so long as it's not a military weapon. So no SMGs, laser carbines, or laser rifles, but anything else you can purchase as soon as you all make it to a port that would sell it.
Okay. I think we're going to do automatic rifle.
You could. I'm going to say that's a military weapon, like a assault
okay.
rifle. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mention that one.
I suppose the laser rifle is too also.
Yeah, laser rifle, laser carbine, SMG, and auto rifle. Everything else would be just a normal
We'll just
weapon.
go for carbine then.
Carbine. Okay. Okay, carbine 1. All right, and I think you get 1 more. Did we roll twice?
Yeah,
so
we
you get
roll
1 more.
one more, and so I'm going to roll on table 3.
All right.
I got a gunnery.
Gunnery 2 to start with. All right. Now, let's pan back to everybody underwater currently.
Camera cut to panicking, screaming.
All right, so here you all are underwater. And let's see, so one person was trying to send a message. Let's let's see. There's Perseus. There's Jackson. I'm going to get Jackson back awake. I'll get you guys in a second. So books, roll 2d6 to get 8 to see if you can reach the starport.
I thought I was supposed to roll earlier for that and then just not tell you.
No, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. What'd you get? My bad.
10.
A 10, nice. Yeah, you get a lazy voice responding. Hello, excuse me. Sorry, this is Startown Walston. Any station, be advised we're under a worldwide emergency right now. Unable to accommodate incoming traffic, request unit or holding pattern. And he starts going on, like that.
Yeah, and so I would just, after he's ranting about what's going on in the world, I would just kind of stop a mid-sentence and say, we need your help immediately. We were trying to rescue the farmers and other folk on behalf of the dictator, and we ran into some trouble. We are in a ship underwater that is upside down and possibly could fill up more at any time. So we need help. We need immediate evacuation. And I would give the coordinates to where we are.
Roger that. Is this the high and dry? Until
Yes.
This is a Varger,
Yes, it is.
because they have this kind of they kind of strain to be able to speak, they're able to do it, but you can tell their vocal cords are different, and they're the voice on the other end is we're going to get you help right away. Hang in, high and dry. If you ident your transponder, we'll be able to locate you.
Sorry. What was that? I couldn't hear that.
If you can send a beacon out from your transponder and activate it, we'll be able to find you, and we'll find you and send help right away.
Okay, we'll get right on that.
All right. Meanwhile, over in the drive section, actually, let's send the Varger over there too. You see a real sticky mess. There's water in here. There's arcs of electricity shooting up from the ground in between places. The drives are still active. The fusion drive. There are live cells of power and panels that are open, and the water back here, you're kind of going down. You've had to kind of keep yourself from almost falling because the ship is kind of slanted, and the different I can't think of what they're called, but the things that collect power and distribute them are up on the ceiling above you, and the water is almost up to your stomach.
All right. Are we able to turn off any electricity just to this room and its systems somehow?
You could, but if you turn off power from the fusion drive, you'll lose auxiliary and all active power. So then you'll be on the direct batteries. You can do that, but the direct batteries will only provide basic emergency lighting, and they'll burn out in a matter of maybe 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, I don't know if that's worth it then. We'll keep it in mind, but Jackson, do you have any ideas off the top of your head?
Go back in time and not be big damn heroes. Not really.
This is a really big chamber, so if the water is up to our stomach, there's a lot of water in here in particular, so it's not like we're paling it out to any other part of the ship. If we have the assurance that help is on its way, I don't even know if it's worth the risk of trying to mess with any of this just so that we can get movement happening exactly.
One thing I would say that would be clear to you is that the decision point, so let's say help is on the way, and let's say they can tow it out of the water. If that happens you should be fine. But if for some reason they can't or don't, your window of choosing to evacuate into the water, if you had to, is quickly closing.
Okay. Then I think the other idea of creating some kind of rafts to get people, like if we open the doors, go out into the water for an evacuation, get them up to the surface as quickly as possible and as safely as possible, might be a better use of our time and energy. I'm not sure what resources are best suited to that task. I don't know how you like make a makeshift raft, and I know that this doesn't have any of the sorts of things that it was supposed to be stocked with for that stuff, because when we got here, all of that stuff was gone.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do want to say that would be clear is basically if you intend to try to evacuate the ship manually, like open it up and get out somehow, however you choose to do it, you'll essentially need to do it immediately. Like, if you're not going to try to repair the ship. Now, if you don't do it immediately, then you'll have to hope that they come and find you and get you, which maybe they will. But
I don't want to close down the option of. I don't want to be stuck with just the one option of being rescued. I think we should at least try to do repairs, so we're working from multiple fronts.
So if all the machinery is above us right now, it's above the water line. Obviously, there's still loose wires causing an electrical current through the water down below. But can we lift somebody up to the ceiling and do their work up there and just not touch the surface of the water?
you could try.
If we have whatever furniture we can get in here to just climb up.
Yeah, so you're going to try to work to improvise something to lift somebody up to do repairs.
More or less, yeah. It's not like the surface we're intended to be walking on. The ground has monkey bars for us to hold on to as you're working on it upside down.
Yeah, right. Like there's some, like you could, because there are some things. I'm thinking. But once you get up there, that's the floor. Yeah, that's an interesting kind of failure in this type of design is. The grav technology is so...
It should be suited to be oriented in any direction.
Right. It's so reliable that at this point they have you oriented on a 2D plane, which is good for the human body, but it's here you are now flipped upside down. Yeah.
Can you imagine if we just decide to prioritize immediately turning back on the local gravity control and everything just flips?
Yeah, do you want to do that?
I don't think I do. Because then we would just be in electrified water when we're trying to work on this stuff. Right now, our advantage is that technically all of the different systems are not in contact with the water and the parts of them that we have to be working on.
Lothak, she offers. She's like, I'll hold them up. Whoever wants to go, I'll try to hold you up.
And do we have anything rubber to work with? I don't know.
Yeah. Is this what you're going to try to do, though?
I think it is.
Okay.
I would ask that Jackson join me, so at the very least, there's two of us up there, and there's a little bit of redundancy. We can work together, maybe grab each other, or one of us falls and gets electrocuted, the other's still up there.
I will say that it will become a bit complicated. So that's true, and you'll both be able to make this check to see if you can do it. So here's two options. One is that you can make one roll of one person trying to fix it, and that one roll will determine if there's an incident and if you fail, or vice versa, if there's no incident and if you pass. So, one way or the other. And it's 2d6 to get an 8+ on engineering. The other option is if you rig something a little more complicated to try to get two people up there. That will take time, and it will also take. I'll say at that point, your window of getting out of the ship will have closed. So that would be the one price to pay.
No, I agree with what Jackson had said before about I don't think we're gonna bother with the route of trying to evacuate. It's either we get rescued or we get these systems back online so that we can get moving again. So I'm okay kind of closing that door of getting out of the ship.
Okay.
I did want to just mention that as far as I understand, like to make like a, just to throw this out one last time, to make like a raft or something, or like a life preserver, I think all you really need is like a shirt or like a pair of pants, and you could tie it a certain way, and then the air will kind of create a pocket.
Right.
So it's a very simple process. Like it's I don't think it would be that like arduous to rig something.
Well, I should
you know,
clarify even better than that. You have pressurized things. You have fire extinguishers. You have a bunch of stuff that you could use, and then you all have vac suits with O2, so you can literally just go out there and you're fine. The trick will be a bunch of Vargr and getting them from there and up like real fast. Like
we also have unconscious people and heavily injured people as well. That would be much harder to get evacuated if we do that.
Yeah. So I would make a couple of checks to see, if you can do things like improvise a raft and get the PPE and stuff and emergency equipment that would be useful for that. Anyone in a vac suit would be fine, including heavily injured people, as long as they don't sink. Anyways, two people are lifted up, closing out that option, right? So let's see here.
Just want to get the word out. If I die, Books, your first mate, so you become captain. If you die, then Jackson, you are promoted from bosun to captain. If you die, Lothak,
is like, she looks at this starship that's upside down sinking with her people, and she's like, really?
I mean, your parents are here. If you need to ask their permission, that's fine too. But
all right. So the power systems. Let's see if you can get these things online. Two of you, 2d6. Throw 2d6 to get 8 on an engineering check. Did you pass?
I got a 12.
Oh, a 12. And 2 of you did it. All right. I'm gonna change the title.
I have not rolled well tonight until now.
Jackson, did you pass?
No, I got a 6.
Okay, then I'm just going to cut this in half. 3 plus 2 takes 4 hours of really nerve-wracking work as they try to help you. You rig something up and she's trying to hold it in a way that you might hold a ladder, but instead you're holding it in a ship that's tipped down under electrified water, and she's trying to hold it up, and like she's trying to hold a light at the same time. And you're like, keep the light still, and she's like, I'm trying, and you're trying to work on it. This goes on for 4 hours. Slowly you're able to move from spot to spot, closing panels, sealing them off, and getting the local power working. What you're able to do essentially is get the power to work partially, which is all you need, because if you can get this thing up and out, it can do things like vent air. Well, guess what? It can also vent vapor and gas and water. It can vent and let in anything at once you have control of that. So anyways, the power systems come online. You're no longer on auxiliary power as they come back. Here we go. And you now have a active and living ship again. What do you do?
If we can just get this thing surfaced, I think that's the most important thing. I don't care how we're oriented. If anything, I'd prefer to just stay upside down to keep things simple.
One thing you can always suggest things like but you also don't have to like try to think of the right sci-fi thing. That's not fun to me either. So I think one thing you could do is close the iris, pressure, seal it, and then vent the drive section. It would be just like if you vented O2, but instead you're venting water. And you just get rid of it, and then you close it off, and then you bring in O2 again.
I'll accept this as you describe it, but I'm having trouble rationalizing, like, how do you vent water into it when you're already submerged? Like, wouldn't there have to be an exchange?
Yeah, I think that, to me, I think what this type of ship would have to do at its tech level is it would have to have, what do we call this? I have a valve like this in real life. I'm trying to think of what it's called. In anyways, you can drive the valve open and closed. And what happens is the ship is usually depending on a flow of stuff if you're in atmosphere anyways. So it's going to have water around it. So what you do is, it's actually, fuel systems work this way too. They have what's called a port. Oh no, why can't I think of this? It's this type of port. Well, anyways, you let water go through it and it creates this motive flow. And so then that starts acting like you can push water or air through it. That probably didn't make any sense. I'm sorry. And
No.
I also did a terrible job explaining.
You're fine. If we get rid of the water, does it just leave vacuum behind in that room then?
Yeah, it can become unpressurized. Like so, you drive everything out of it, and so it becomes like hard vacuum. And
Gotcha.
you can do that. You can do that in space too. You could all right, let's put a hard vacuum in this room, and you can do that room by room. By the way, you can do that anytime you want.
If everybody's okay with whatever the state of this room is for now, everybody grab all your stuff. Don't leave behind your keys or phone or anything. We're gonna close this door, vacuum it. Nobody open this door again, or else the oxygen supply is going to be thinned out greatly.
Yeah, and then what you do is you kind of like close it. So now you have this like thing of hard vacuum. So it's probably sinking, and then you generate oxygen. That's the MacGuffin. We have ways of generating oxygen, but not natural oxygen. This ship, you can literally just take. I know your fuel processors don't work, but you can literally take molecules and crack them apart with this ship's technology. So you generate oxygen, and now all of a sudden you've gone from, one pressure state to a totally different one. So now it fills with air, and then like you start lifting up.
Oh, thank goodness. I don't know if we're going to get all the way to the surface, because we obviously couldn't expel all the water, but I also don't know how much water it took to weigh us down below the surface. I have to imagine that's a lot of water we just expelled, though.
Yeah. So you start kind of, the ship is moving enough to where it has that flow to where you can kind of depressurize rooms just like you would in space. And then you seal them because you have the power to seal them. And then you've got that hard point sealed. And then you open the rooms and then generate oxygen. So it takes a while for the oxygen to build back up. And now you're like a balloon. So
yeah, however long it takes to just do it like one room at a time until there's basically no water left. Is Books ever hear back from anybody?
Yeah, Books. Books. Somebody said that they were sending help, and you bob to the surface, and a huge cloud of steam, like flying off the ship and everything, and you're back in breathable air, if nothing else, in Walston, nearby. And get rid of this, and. Oh, whoops. At this point, you can actually see where there's a bunch of stuff on the coast, and the air is just choked with volcanic ash everywhere. This fine dust just fills the air, and you can see floating along the coast as well all these little midget subs, ready there to try to help tow their heroes to shore. At this point, you could let them tow you to shore, and then either just leave the ship and come and get it later, or you could you can wait and repair the ship and try to fly it in. So basically, a question would be like, "Let's just stop working for now. Just get us out of here."
Yeah,
and you just
we
leave
could
the
use a
ship.
break
Just
from
leave
the
it.
ship for a while. Hey, I bet we could probably talk somebody local into fixing this up for us at this point. Like the rest of the job we've been hired to do, I bet we could get them to do it on our behalf.
Yeah, but
we got to get our buddies to the hospital, and I need a cup of coffee like as soon as I can get one.
That's worth noting. Like they're stable, but they're in really bad shape. I mean, these people are severely wounded, so you probably have to tell them that first. Like, hey, we have medical emergencies, you know, and you start making your way via these midget subs with your vac suit masks on and stuff, and everybody's given some O2 to breathe in the atmosphere here, and you get transferred into the boats, and you start making your way out of here after saving everybody's life. And I don't think anyone died. But did you die? I don't think anyone died after that, at least. So, meanwhile, somewhere in the somewhat distant past at this point, Ben.
Yep.
Let's see if you could survive another term.
Here we go. Got a 7.
A 7 in the Marines, and you have strength of 10, which gives you a +2. You pass by. Oh wait, yeah, you more than pass. Sorry, I was looking at the enlistment, and then 2d6 to see if you get promoted.
7.
A 7, and you have education 7+. You miss it by 1, so you are still a captain. So you do one more term. You can pick one of either personal, service, advanced, or advanced education.
Let's do personal.
All right. D6.
Got a 4.
A 4, you get gambling 1. That's interesting.
Alrighty.
I wonder what happened on this term. And then at this point, 2d6 to see if they stop loss you.
5.
5, you are not stop lost, and in fact are booted out of the service as a captain with 2 terms. So let's see.
Okay.
You've got rank 2, and you've got 2 terms, so you get 3 mustering out benefits.
Okay.
So you can roll for stuff or money.
I'll roll for some stuff.
Okay.
To start with. First one is a 5.
5, you get Traveler's Aid Society membership, TAS. That means like when you go to any Class A or B starport type planet, you get free hotel stays and free information, free contacts, stuff like that.
Okay. I'll do stuff again. Got a 3.
3, you get a +1 to your education stat.
Nice. If I don't roll it all for cash, do I start out with nothing?
Yeah. So it's always good to do one cash roll.
I'll roll 1 for cash then.
All right.
I only got a 2.
2, 5,000 credits to start. Matt.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. We already did we already do your re-enlistment roll for the Merchant Marines?
I don't think so. No.
All right, 2d6 to see if they stop loss you or if you can get back in.
I got a 7.
All right, yeah, you can. Do you want to do another term?
Yeah.
All right, 2d6 to see if you survive. You've got intelligence 8, so you get a +2. And
I got a 6.
6. Yep, you survive. 2d6 to see if you get promoted.
No.
Dang. Okay, so you remain a 4th officer. You can only pick one thing here. A d6 on one of the 4 tables.
Okay, I'm going to go for 2.
Okay.
Service skill table. Got a 3.
3, jack of all trades. That's pretty
All
huge.
right.
Yeah, that's nice. Wow. Okay. And 2d6 to see if they stop loss you.
2.
A 2. Not only do they not stop loss you, but they throw you out 4th officer with 2 terms of service. So you got rank 1 plus 2 terms, so you get to roll for 3 mustering out benefits.
Okay. So we'll do the cash table first.
All right.
I got a 2.
2 on the Merchant Marines is 6,000 credits.
5,000?
Oh, sorry, 5,000. Yeah, my bad.
Okay, and on the table, I got a 6.
Let's see, low passage, which I'll tell you how that could benefit later in the open table setup, but low passage. And one more.
I'm going to go for the table again, med benefits.
All right.
I got a 2.
2, plus 1 to your intelligence. All right. Now, the thing about these characters is that the thing that they all share in common is that the people that you encounter that you can really trust, like why you would take people on automatically, is you maybe didn't serve in the same platoon, but all of these people all served in the 412th Battalion, the Marine Joint Task Force. So you were all in the same battalion, you all participated in the Battle of Rylanor. So you're all kind of in a similar boat. We won't go through the scenario, but that's what you all have in common. So you came in on a merchant ship and are currently at Startown Walston. And all right, back at Startown Walston. Let's see here. A crowd has gathered as you're brought in, and there are Vargar here in masks and stuff. They're members of press trying to ask you questions. Everyone is asking where the crew of the High and Dry is as you come in. They don't know it's you, and already the Vargar
taking the mask off. I want him to see my face. I'm mugging for the camera.
Let's go up to the first reporter, and they're like, "Oh, hello. Are you a traveler? This is a Vargar." And they have a recording device and everything and a camera, and they're like, hey, did you hear about the High and Dry and the crew and how they saved the entire planet? And I we heard that the entire volcano was going to blow. They're wildly wrong, right? They don't know. They think it. We have reports that the entire volcano was going to blow, but they actually they redirected the flow and saved the entire world and everything.
I wouldn't contradict any of that.
Have you heard about this crew, sir? Do you know anything? Did they rescue you as well? We see you came in on one of the subs.
Well, of course we know them.
He's me.
I'll gesture towards my fellow travelers. I want to point out each of them one by one. I point at Cleon being pulled away on a stretcher, and I'm like, there is our daring pilot. And then I point over Jackson, there is our daring backup pilot.
Some of the Vargar are even pointing at you all as well, and at this point, the press just swarm around you. They just attack you at this point. All the press are all around you trying to ask questions but what made you take an interest on our planet? Do you represent the Third Imperium? Do you have is there a company association that you were sent here on behalf of? They're just asking all these questions.
Yeah, now I'm wishing we had a sponsor that I could plug right now.
Does anybody
well,
else say anything? And at this point, thanks to Perseus, you're surrounded by cameras and press and people taking pictures and stuff.
We dabble in Imperium contract work, but being big damn heroes is a full-time job, so
They're recording that and writing it down. You know, it's like the quote. What about what Jackson? I mean, you know, and books. What are you guys doing?
I think at this point, I mean, books is definitely I'm the quiet type, but I'm definitely enjoying all the attention, and I'm kind of just trying to keep a serious face, but I'm failing. I'm not used to this much attention or adoration, but I'm letting Chapman do all the talking. You know, that's his thing. I'm just kind of basking in it.
Yeah. You can even. Oh, go ahead.
Jackson is standing off to the side with his arms crossed, just kind of not glaring at anybody, but just giving everybody a little bit of a look like, what the hell are we doing here? We gotta keep moving.
To their credit, the Vargar are taking out the seriously wounded and getting them to medical care, and you can actually see that they're being put on ground cars and taken to the closest medical facility. They'll probably be stabilized and then brought into Crystal or Central Lake City, where the largest hospital on the planet is. And for the severely wounded, they'll probably be there for a long time, a month, 2 months, as they get rehabilitated. But so you know your friends are getting taken care of. That you can see, so that's good. And the press will basically just like harangue you to death so long as they're allowed to. They will capture everything they can. Interviews. They'll offer, you know, like exclusives. Like they'll say, you know, you'll have different press that are just like, you know, maybe can we set up can we arrange an appointment, Captain? You know, and looks at Perseus. What was your names? You pointed out their names, right? The different travelers.
Yeah, I did my best to make sure each of them got a name drop.
Yeah, and
I'm including Lothak in that as well. I want her to get like a free publicity boost on her home planet. So
yeah, one of them is like Lothak. Isn't that the Lothak from Barvin?
The one and only.
She's a traveler. She's a traveler, but you know, like this, like kind of, it just starts rumors and stuff, and she's stunned too now that she's caught up in all of this, and she's really uncomfortable. Actually, she's kind of crossing her arms and wringing her hands. You know, this is very uncomfortable for her.
All right, when I pick up on that, combined with Jackson's glare, I'll try to shoo people away. Like, all right, we've had a very long day. Some folks are tired, and we have an important debriefing with the dictator. Probably.
Probably. So you start. You know, you're at the starport in the star town. Let me go back to this map. Probably it was several hours. This is probably well into the next day, in the evening is what's going on here. And they have to take you up up the peninsula, put you on a ground car, and then drive you to the star town. And then from there, the wounded are taken to Central Lake City. So here you are, you're at the Star Town. The Star Town, again, is... I wish I'd just put these maps on. They would be easy to reference. You have the airport. Let me do it here real quick so it's just easy to kind of draw. Scribble it on here. Red, be easy to see. So it looks like your typical airport with its aprons is the starport. So you have like a control tower and stuff here. and then you've got like runways and landing pads and fuel silos over here, and that makes up the bulk of the Star Town. And then you have a bunch of roads leading into various buildings here. Some of them are just residential buildings, side streets, stuff like that. You've got a main road. That main road goes to the rail station. And you've got over here the hotel. And here is the Starport Authority / hair salon / air raft repair center. And then you've got storage facilities over here and a bunch of buildings. So where do you go is my next question.
I think that we do want to check in with the authorities who put us on this job to begin with, tie up those loose ends, and debrief about how everything went, because I wasn't entirely kidding about us wanting to milk whatever we can out of what we've given them.
So you just find like the nearest uniformed person representing the World Authority and be like, hey, we're the crew of the High and Dry. We need to take us to your leader, as it were.
Yes, more or less. Okay.
You see a marked difference in how these people are, in that they suddenly have a sense of alacrity. Now everybody knows who the crew of the High and Dry are.
I hope I make eye contact with those guys who were hassling us the other day in the streets.
Yeah. I would like to suggest hopping over to the hotel where you know that you'll get something free to eat and you're probably hungry anyways, just so you can get a couple of these crewmen who you meet, and you know that they were also veterans in the same battalion in the Battle of Rylanor.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to want to hit the hay like as soon as possible after this, so we could do that too.
It is evening time. There is that, and they may even send you a communication. The authorities here, who are mostly Vargar, they say the hotel stay, the food, it's on us. We've paid for everything. We have a suite for you all at the hotel. It's a compliment.
You can eat fish soup.
Yeah, and in fact it is. When you go in the hotel, that's exactly what you've got is fish soup, fish cakes, fish and rice, fish and, you got fish everything. Fish sandwich. Yeah. So, and what's your characters' names, Ben and Matt?
My character is Tycho Voss.
Tycho Voss. And Matt.
I'm not good at coming up with names on the spot.
I can use, my favorite one is Don John's because it has a Firefly name generator.
It does?
Among others. That's my favorite. I go to Serenity names, male, Benedict, Warren, Augustus. And it has like these like old-timey Western names.
More games.
Oh yeah, they've got it for like, speaking of Free League, they have a whole big thing for Alien RPG, all kinds of stuff.
Look it up here.
Dire.
ChatGPT is good at that too. You can just tell it to generate names in a style of a particular show or whatever.
Oh, nice. And, if those are too space western-y for you, you could go in the direction of Cyberpunk is pretty good in my opinion. Ethan Barrick, Eric Volante, like they sound kind of sci-fi-ish too, I think.
Camden Wyrick.
What's the name?
Camden Wyrick.
Camden Wyrick. Okay. So these two people, you find that they've been traveling for several years. They're on this merchant ship, and what happened is this merchant ship abandoned them here. They're gone for like a month, and they're stuck here anyways. So, you
left high and dry, huh?
You were left.
I offer to buy these men a cup of soup each.
You lose 500 credits. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Cool. So eventually you're given a personal escort in the dictator's personal grav car, which is the fanciest car apart from Did you guys go to the Air Raft Repair Center? No, you went to the Starport Authority. I'm thinking of the other group. This is then the fanciest car that you've seen here on this place. It's like a grav car, so it's like nice and sealed on the inside, and it smells nice, and it looks like it's like driving around in like a BMW or something. You know, the interior is really nice. You do notice that there's a bunch of dings on the outside of it, dings and dents and stuff, but you know, and it's kind of beat up a little bit. But you have a personal chauffeur. They invite you inside, and they ride you the next day to drive you to Central Lake City. And there's a celebration going on in the city. Let's see here. I don't have... This is the best I got. I wasn't expecting this level of success, I suppose. It's great. All right. So, you know, the pedways, the tubes between buildings and various buildings where there's communal areas, they're all packed with Varga. And you're brought to the government building, and as you come out, you're given masks, you know, to wear, just to make it from the grav car into the World Government building. And everywhere around you, there's this crowd. It just erupts in cheers, like and people banging things, and it's more of like a roar, you know, because like everybody's trying to express their enthusiasm, but in this weird atmosphere in this place. Yeah, this whole place like loves you. Yeah, you're like the heroes of this planet now. And you go in the World Government Center, and Director Green is there. And he's smiling, you know, and he says, he comes up and shakes your all's hands, and he says, I don't know how you did it, but if you weren't here, a lot of people would have died. I'm very grateful to all of you. Director Green's a human man, middle-aged, like many of the humans here, very dark onyx skin, a bit shorter. They all wear this like kilt setup, like a skirty, kilty thing that they all wear, and they have like violet kind of veins and features in places and violet eyes.
Simpson's starting to get used to the cheers, and he's starting to lean into this whole big damn hero thing a little bit.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. What were we gonna say?
Oh, that was it. Just
okay.
Jackson's gonna shake the director's hand really, really hardly. Oh yeah, no big problem though. We do this kind of thing all the time.
They bring you into a what do you call a conference room. The seats are really plush, really comfy to sit in, and there are a few Varga in here, mostly humans, and eventually Dictator Masterson comes in. Everybody stands up, you know, as he comes in. He comes over and he shakes your hand, and he's like, "I'm so glad that we knew to hire the right people." He's out of touch. That doesn't make any sense, right? But nonetheless, that's what he says. Smiles at you and shakes your hand, you know, like this is all going according to plan. And he's like, "We wanted to invite you in to talk about some of our plans that we have for our world, and maybe you could help us with it."
I'm all ears. I think we're going to be here for a little longer than we'd originally scheduled, so...
That's the spirit. Take a seat, and a few things become clear very quickly. One is that Dictator Masterson has taken credit for this whole thing. That he had planned all this, and that he had brought in Imperial authorities, which he's portraying you all as, and that this is a bit of the Imperium coming to the rescue, is what he's kind of presented it as, and given to local media.
And that whole part where he had told people to go towards the city that was going to get destroyed, we're just going to leave that out of the whole narrative.
Yeah, no, nobody's talking about
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
We'll
And,
rewrite history however we need to benefit everyone.
That's great. Yeah, and he talks about contracts with imperial corporations and how this is going to really bring attention to some needs here on the planet and a lot of the families. He mentions, he's like, clearly this is a time for us to build these relationships. So we want to. He offers to send you back. He is aware, at least, that you're on a scout courier, and a secure message to what he assumes is an Imperial base, which is not. But he thinks you're going back to an Imperial base. Doesn't even ask you. And basically a contract with the Imperium to complete a scout base here, and to open up contracts for contractors to come in and to open up the fisheries to off-world contracts and the planetary. This is actually, let me make sure I'm not crazy. I haven't looked at it in a little bit here. Let's see. Worlds. A refinery. Ultimately, is what he's hoping for. To turn this into a fueling station in the Bowman Arm is what they want. So, Dictator Masterson, eventually it's clear he's going to use this whole thing to kind of push what he's been wanting for a while.
Now, of course, we are going to want to talk about whatever decisions we make as a crew together. We're not in an emergency, so of course it comes down to democracy. But personally, I don't see any reason why we can't be helpful to you in whatever way you need. Because it seems quite helpful to us, to be honest. We're always looking out for work of this sort of nature anyway. Kind of more directed towards my allies who are here with me, the fellow crewmates. I was going to say, I definitely wouldn't want to leave the planet until we know that, Cleon and Dex are back on their feet. And they're going to be recovering for, I think Rossi said weeks or a month or more.
Yeah, I think it could be a month or 2 or 3 months. Let me see here.
Of course, it would be delightful to just take a vacation on this planet for that long. I also doubt that we are of the financial standing that we could do that, and I'm not going to bank on us being able to milk the goodwill of these folks for that long. So, I actually do like the sign of just doing a contract for this planet that will give us a reason to go somewhere else and then come back here once or twice, so that way, we're always basically in the vicinity of whenever it is that Cleon and Dex are recovered. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all, but...
Yeah.
If I'm potentially if we're potentially around, we should think about time frame of getting back to the guy that hired us. What's his name?
Andrews Kasserai is what I have written.
Yeah, Andrews Kasari.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is correct. Oh, sorry, go ahead. My bad.
And we also have vouchers for some of the surrounding systems for fuel and everything. So we are at we're at Walston. So we've got Bowman, Squalia, Flexos. I guess it's Nerton, Petrillian, Faldor, 567 908.
Yeah.
So we could get free fuel at any of those places.
Well,
So
we
if
need
I
to
got-
try and leverage the goodwill that we've got to get our ship repaired.
Yeah. I don't know how long that'll take, but I hope only a matter of days at most. We can get that up and running like originally planned. We're supposed to take that back to Startown Liberty, I think, to meet up with Scout Services, who hired us there. Actually, Ross, the high-end dry, are we supposed to deliver it, drop it off back where we were originally hired at Startown Liberty, or is there somewhere else?
Yeah, no, that's right. The Starbase at Flammarion, which is Startown Liberty. And actually, a couple of more data points here for your all's consideration. I looked, and for this situation, I'm going to say it's 5 days. It's good to have a backup traveler in case you all ever want to hop into, if I get like an open table thing going. And also, you can see that it's good to have a backup traveler anyway. But that being said, you all can choose, Matt and Ben. You can, in 5 days, if you guys want to stay here and wait, they will be up and running in 5 days. And everybody will have gotten all their attributes back, including those that are not in the hospital.
Wait, are you talking about Cleon and Dex? That they would be up and running in 5 days?
Mm-hmm. So you can pick, like you can roll with Camden or Tycho or Dex or Cleon. It's up to you all. I think it's great to have more than one traveler and do different things that you want to do, you know? And having one ready to go seems like a good plan anyway.
I like
So it's only take 5 days and not months?
5 days, yeah. I looked, it's 5 to 30 days depending on the serious injury.
That's some good healthcare, I guess.
Yeah, well, they're kind of focused on you all.
Well, then I guess that factor doesn't matter as much, but I still like the sound of this work. I hope that we could deliver this secure message back to our contact in Scout Services, Kasarai. I know he's not like big deal, but like surely he could pass that along as necessary.
I like that idea as well of taking on the work and kind of making this our home base for a little bit. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, and it's true that I think he said in 3 months' time the operating system will fail and the ship won't work. But that's 3 months. But so you could take your time, and explore, and you could go to the Starport Authority and look on the navigation chart and see where you want to go. Now, anywhere there's a voucher, you have basically vouchers that will lead you home once, right? They're paying for that and the fuel. Anywhere else you want to go, you have to pay for the navigation data, which is 10,000 credits, and the fuel to get there. You could scoop fuel because they also fix your fuel processors at Startown or Starport.
No, I'm kind of always thinking about bank account. I don't see why we can't just hang around for 5 days for these guys to get on their feet. Hopefully that's also enough time to get the high and dry as recovered as it needs to be for our original job. Presumably, we're due some payment for the volcanic data that we recovered. Because we technically did deliver that, and we delivered it at the most helpful moment we could have.
Yeah, they offered to pay you double what you were offered. I think it was 6,000 per person. Let's see here.
I really write notes about the dumbest things. I have Dahlia the Coffee Planet written down, but I don't have that.
Let's see here. Greener, he is offering... Dang, okay. I think it was 3,000 per person, so they offer you instead double, 6,000 credits per person. And that's if you agree to deliver the message on their behalf as envoys of the world government of Walston.
I guess we'll take a vote. Are there any objections to us taking this as our next job?
No objection here.
I'm all
Sounds
for
good.
it. I think it sounds good.
Sounds good to me. I would, of course, extend an invitation to our two new buddies that we've met, whose names I wrote down, Tycho and Camden. Just because, like, anytime you happen to run into someone else from the Battle of Rylador, that's a kindred spirit right there.
I'm going to say that the players have to pick. There is one person that wants to join you, though. Lothax is actually... She has no skills whatsoever, literally. except driver. She can drive a grav car, air raft. She has all those, and she has a mechanical one. She has no other skills, and you are on a scout courier, so someone will have to double bunk if you take her.
I also want to put this one to a vote. I would feel terribly guilty if we invite her into the traveler lifestyle only for her to get killed.
Yeah, she is not well suited for it. You all will have to train her or something. I don't know.
But I do like having followers. That sounds nice to have.
Well, isn't she going to find out at one point what we did to the other Vargar when we sold them out?
The universe.
I mean, that could get awkward.
About that.
I mean, we did save her people though, so I don't know how much damage that would do. Yeah,
They balance out.
Yeah, it's like they balance out. I'm okay with it. I guess we'll have to roll to see who shares a bunk.
Yeah,
but sounds good to me.
It increases your living costs, and because you pay for literally oxygen and food and stuff. But that's not a ton of money. Let's see here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 people are already double bunked. One way to think about it's like the Navy, like you hot bunk it, and somebody's on duty on watch and somebody's sleeping, and then you just switch.
Could we make it that Captain Wyrick, who is goes by Wizzy, could we have him? Could we have him he likes a hammock? So he was in the Merchant Marine, and they're always trying to economize. So they didn't really have a bunk for him, and he got used to sleeping in a hammock. That's what he does all the time.
Yeah, like that character in McHale's Navy, that show. You got that guy who's like, "Can you just be normal?" No, I'm gonna sleep in a hammock in the galley. That sounds good.
Yeah, he has to sleep in the galley too, because he gets hungry at night.
Nice.
I almost want to talk
Whatever
back into like boosting her up here on this planet. I don't know how she could capitalize on all of this new attention and everything. I'm sure there's some way, but
a few other things to know. So I don't know if you have the captain's checklist on there, but there are a few things, and this would actually start at the arrival starport. Arriving on the planet is actually the part of the procedure we're on. So one thing you can do is you're entitled to search for a patron for additional jobs once per week, which you all haven't done yet. You would roll a d6, and on a 5 and a 6, after asking around, you could find a patron willing to offer work. If there is one, because I'll also, if you get a 5 or a 6, I'll roll to see what type of patron they are.
I was gonna say, I don't know if we're gonna get a better patron. Right. Well, a patron is like a long-term thing as opposed to this.
Right. That's a great question. So this is how I look at it. Patrons, mechanically, when I look at it, they're very hard to get. What I think is a patron is someone with purse strings. There's someone who has the authority on behalf of something else to say, here's the money. And obviously you want that person. So sometimes I think you get a patron and maybe it's a job that you do later, like Anders Kasare. Like that's something that, he's going to give you a job that's 2 jumps away. But you do jobs in between. Like you keep doing work as you go. Like you don't just not do any work, if you can get more money. And I think the same thing goes with patrons. If you can find another one, you can work with them until they're shot and killed, or they disappear, or they don't like you anymore, or they don't have any work for you. The other thing is, if you find a patron, you may not want to work with them because they're going to ask you to do something dangerous. Every single time a patron's going to ask you to do something adventurous. So, but that's how you'll make a bunch of money too.
Since we're going to be here roughly a week anyway, yeah, I'm fine just doing the roll just in case we meet somebody on this backwater who actually could help us in that kind of way. We could help them in that kind of way.
All right, check a D6.
A D6?
Yeah. See if you get a 5 or 6.
Did. I got a 6.
A 6. Okay. So, let's see here. ask around. First of all, probably just hanging around the hero of an entire world. Like, the most notorious people on the planet in a good way. And probably making a lot of Vargar friends. And a lot of just friends on the planet. Probably families of the oligarchy as well, like the human oligarchy, the kind of ruling caste of families that are here. And eventually, there's some Vargar that they ask you all if you'd be willing to meet them somewhere, because they have what they think is a business opportunity for you. Now, since you've come here the entire time, the Vargar have not been assertive like that at all. They always kind of have this, you get this sense that they're always waiting for to be told what to do. So to have Vargar come up to you and be like, hey, we have a job for you, is very out of character.
They seem to have sinister intentions based on their expressions.
Oh yeah, because you can read their expressions. They look nervous when they ask you. Like their ears are kind of back, and they're like kind of, unscrupulous. Yeah, I suppose it is very obvious to a human.
I'm willing to go for it. We'll tell whoever folks here that we trust where we're going to be, just in case we don't come back in a normal amount of time.
Okay.
But I'm willing to go wherever they want and talk shop.
Who else? Does anybody? I mean, who's going with you? I suppose everybody. The crew. The crew should go, or not.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Would this be when Cleon or Dex are available, or should our new friends join us?
I think that's up to Ben and Matt. Which characters do you guys want to play? I'm going to say that you sort of have to commit to one traveler to play. You can't play multiple travelers in a game session, if that makes sense.
I'm going to play Cleon.
Very well.
Yeah, Dex.
Dex, really? Oh, man. All right.
This guy can survive anything.
This is true. Numbers aren't everything.
He just passes out a lot.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, yeah, so you guys, you go to, at night, there's this is in the Star Town. You might say, why would you even be in the Star Town, because you're, but you're travelers, and the hotel has travelers that come and go, and, the hotel treated you well, and it's more of your element, if anything, and your ship's there. And anyways, the ship, not only are Cleon and this is probably the big money item that they offer you, is they pay to have your ship repaired for you to do this job. So you have the fuel processors repaired. That means you can scoop fuel. If a system has a gas giant and you scan it on the way in, free fuel, and you don't have to pay for fuel. You have to spend the time to go out to the gas giant, do a pilot check. But anyways, and all the other systems are fixed and repaired as well. They send a bill with you to the Imperium, though, of course. Like, they expect to be reimbursed. And that's a benefit of waiting on Cleon and Dex to come as well. So here you are, you're kind of waiting on your ship, and you are invited to a warehouse in the southeastern corner of Startown, Walston at night. And when you go in there, you hear coughing, hacking noises coming from someone in kind of a warehouse office. You notice that the Vargar that invite you in here, their coat is somewhat different from the other Vargar you've seen on the planet. You're invited into an office, and there's this old Varger. He looks like he looks mangy. That's not a great adjective, but he looks like he's been through it. And he says, "The crew of the High and Dry, heroes of Walston. I wonder if you'll choose to stay heroes or not. Please take a seat."
Who's questioning my herohood?
Certainly not me. But you're needed. My people, they need your help. And he coughs again. I won't cough into the mic.
Well, you have our attention.
I don't have cash. I have something better. Masterson, this is the final straw. He's inviting Imperial corporate interests. Let's be honest. You're being used. Mega corporations will come in. My people will be controlled by humans forever.
So
I'm
what
sorry,
are
did
your...
you say you don't have cash?
Oh, there's a hot mic. I think it's Tommy. Were you going to say something?
I'm sorry, did you say you don't have cash?
I'm sorry, reverb for me. Can you say that one more time?
Did you say you don't have cash?
No. I have something better, though.
Better than cash?
Oh, yes. Much better.
Is it gold?
Closer. But how about we talk about the job, and then I'll tell you what the pay could be.
X, did you have something to say?
Yes, I would like to know more about you and your goals.
Very well. My name is Irka Hukai. You can call me Irka. And need to should have added these people. All right. Give me a second. Thought I had this note. Let me think about it real quick. Nope. Well, okay. I'll just... What do you want to know?
Well, I understand that you're concerned about your people here, and I think that's a worthy concern. I think that's noble. And we like to help out people when we can. But since you are obviously in opposition to the local government, that could place us in a compromising position. And so I think it would be advisable if we know more about both your history and your aims.
I think it'll place you in a very compromising position. And a very profitable one. But I'll tell you, it wasn't always this way. These Varga, they don't understand. This isn't how it's meant to be. My people were pressed into service in the war. just for being something other than the Imperium. They took control of the extents. Those were our planets. When a Vargur is a king, Vargur will follow him to death. Our loyalty is like steel. It is our greatest power, and it's being misdirected toward this fool. As soon as Masterston brings in the mega corporations on a contract, whichever one picks up the contract, it'll be humans that dominate this world for 100 years. But if it could be free, led by a Vargur, this could be a Vargur world.
Well, that sounds like a pretty radical, paradigm change you're talking about. What do you envision our part in this being?
Well, perhaps we shouldn't discuss the job just yet, because what I'm about to ask for your help in, I think you'll, as you said, find it compromising. So why don't we talk about profit? I know where 2 tons of radioactives are. Now, out of character, radioactives are the most valuable material in the universe. Whatever, uranium, unobtainium, whatever you want to call it. The book calls it radioactives, though, and it is some sort of powerful thing, like the stuff from Avatar, some kind of unobtainium. So you can find this stuff sometimes when you're mining, but usually you only find it in small amounts. He says, I also happen to know a buyer. If you can make it to the black market on Squalia, 2 tons, 650,000 credits. I happen to know that.
I mean, if you know that, why aren't you taking advantage of that opportunity yourself? Surely a person of your position with your aims could benefit from having, all that for themselves.
I need to hire a starship for that. You have one. And besides, I have something I want more than 650,000 credits. And it's something I think you can give me.
Still
Thanks.
listening.
Dex whispers over to Chapman. He says, I think we would talk about this.
We want Masterston's daughter.
Would you mind if we talked about this amongst ourselves?
You can. But you only have to play your part. You don't even have to do anything too incriminating. Now, of course, if I tell you where that cache of radioactives are, you'll have to make it to Squalia and make it in, not get searched by a patrol cruiser. That's not very likely. So long as you can make it there without trouble, you'll be much richer. And you don't have to actually capture her. We only need your help of your crew and your ship. But by all means, he gets up and leaves the office, hobbles out.
All right, gang. Does anybody have any opening arguments?
It sounds like a very, very bad idea.
Yes.
That's the thing is, like, being paid in information about a profitable venture is not as secure as just being paid.
Yeah, especially when the mission involves like intense political risk.
Yes. Like you said, how exactly exposed we are is going to depend on the details of what he's asking of us, or how much leeway we have in presumably kidnapping a girl. I don't know. I guess the only true incentive to favor this instead of aligning with the dictator would just be morally. And I'm like, I don't want to necessarily make things worse for colonized people.
Yeah, this guy
I
is
hear
really
him there.
sketchy. This
I
guy's
hear
really
him there,
sketchy.
but like, is it going to be that much worse for the Vargar if there's more Imperial power? Man, I sound awful right now, but
I mean, just on a tactical standpoint, like it's a risky job that could get us into political trouble where like whole factions are after us for a reward that's hypothetical.
yeah.
And we might not get anything because this guy is sketchy.
Yeah. Plus, we
I'm
just
not-
gained a bunch of goodwill.
Right.
Like, it'd be kind of sad to go back on it now.
I have an alternative proposal. Because we've met a couple of good-natured Vargar in the time that we've spent here on planet. If we are going to be involved in the Imperium having a greater presence on this planet, maybe we can put in a good word for particular native Vargar here to have some more authority or positions of power within whatever is to come. For example, Loethak, because I don't want them to end up being, getting the short end of the stick in whatever develops here.
Sure, that sounds reasonable. I think we should just use the advantage that we have right now, which is planetary goodwill, and to maximize that.
Yeah, this is really nice.
And not try and like take a mission that ruins that, because like the number of good things that could come from a whole planet loving you is quite high.
Yeah, we have super capital right now.
We could also lie. Like, we could say we're on board with this and then, sell them out or something. I mean, we don't have to necessarily...
Like, hey, there's a terrorist group over here.
Right. That's an option. Like, we could pretend we're on board and then just go and sell them out. Like, whatever
more
kind
goodwill.
of... Yes, yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
It is an
'cause,
option.
Yeah, I don't like that because we're already compromised as it is since we're being here. And if we turn them in, we could say, like, we could just give people the information that we have right now. That would be an alternative in the same vein, but we don't have to, like, pretend we're going along with it and get too deep into it because they could figure it out, don't you think?
I guess that's true. We don't have to commit to anything. We could just say no thanks, and I don't know. What if they do just try to kill us when we decline their offer? Because maybe we do know too much for them to be comfortable with that.
We could fight it out.
Yeah, we try to kill them.
I'm willing to take a vote when the agree to do it and not do it thing. The fake to agree.
All right, one step at a time. Are we all agreed that we're not going to take up the terrorist job, like, earnestly?
Yeah.
Agree.
Right, cool. Now, then the question is, do we decline and risk them killing us because we know too much, or do we agree, play along for however long we need to, and then get word back to the authorities as soon as possible, and then, like, extricate ourselves from the situation?
Well, what's our current situation right now? Like, where are we physically? Are we surrounded by Vargar? Do we have a clean exit?
Yeah, it's a great question. You're in an old warehouse in an office. He's left you in here. You can see from the office window that he's standing outside. There's a collection of about 6 other armed Vargar here. They're armed with a motley of small arms like shotguns and revolvers. You can tell that they're armed. Some of them have just like pipes and clubs.
So we don't want to piss them off.
The leader guy. I mean, if they're surrounding the leader, then and we're closer to the exit, I would assume.
I'm imagining sometimes these warehouses have like a. It's like this. Let's say you're in a. It's too dark.
Turn the lights on.
Right. Let me do that. Let me turn the lights on a little bit. There we go. So let's say you came into a warehouse, and then in the back of the warehouse would be something like a little office. So there's not really a way out unless you went through a barred window, which you could do. And then there's a window, and then there's like a bunch of people out there. I'll even kind of put you all on here so that you can kind of make your decisions. Leon's back. Let me make everybody okay.
Would those people be between us and the exit, like right about here?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have set things up in such a way.
I cannot see the map. It's not coming through in my thing. It might be my display issue with my monitor.
Can't hurt to refresh. That usually fixes my issues with Foundry.
Yeah, let's see here. And we're at, okay. Yeah, so you're thinking about maybe trying to lie and say, yeah, we'll do it. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's the leader. Is that just the gist of the plan? Never mind the specifics.
I do have more faith in that plan than declining straight up, but that's just my vote.
We could give them the impression that we're entertaining it, or we're
Yeah.
rather than, what I'm thinking is maybe it's something between refusing and accepting wholeheartedly, just to get us out of the building.
Sure.
Because if we accept wholeheartedly, then he's going to dump a bunch of information on us, and then that's a problem for us because we know all that stuff. Whereas
Isn't it already though? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you, but didn't they already give us too much information to the point where, like, thinking about it from their perspective, they just kind of showed their hand.
The mere fact that they said
that
we
they'd
would
want
be going for his daughter, like that is itself compromising for them.
Right. Like, I don't know what else more they could say like that. I mean, if they give us the specifics, we still know what they're going to do. We'd still have enough to point it on them. So to me, I feel like we either have to, like, pretend to agree, or, I don't know. I don't know another way that we'll get out of this without potentially causing big issue. We can
We don't
vote
have
on
any
it.
weapons with us, right?
No, I'll see
I
you
have
have
a
your
knife in my
weapons.
boot.
I mean, it's been a while. You can have your armor and weapons on you.
I thought those might have been taken
Yeah,
previously
we
when we
couldn't
were
on the
customs.
surface.
Yeah, but I really don't want to
Oh,
fight our
I'm
way
sorry.
out. Like,
That's
you never-
right. I'm thinking of the other group. You put all your weapons in a locker.
The other group got their weapons.
Yeah, they did a whole thing to get their weapons. I mean, they may not do this though, so it may be it may mean nothing. I don't know. Their weapons haven't been useful yet. They considered shooting the little gerbils that infested their ship, and then they realized that would be a bad idea, and then it really came to nothing to have them.
Speaking of, whatever happened to the one that was in the Walton that was in the microwave? Did that ever?
That's a good question.
Is it still there?
Still there, I guess.
Yeah, he's still in there. But then you tell me, because you brought the ship to the starport. What is he? Is he alive? Do you want to keep him? What do you think?
I let them go.
Okay, you just go, my little friend. You leave him
Yes,
outside. He
born
scurries
free.
off. Okay. All right. So here we got like let's see, 3 votes so far to lie. What about Cleon and Jackson? What do you all think?
I'm fine with lying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who's
All
going to
right.
pitch it? Pitch it for me. He comes back in.
All right. We'll take the job. Of course, we're going to need to get prepared, gather our things. We're not even armed right now. But whatever you want to lay out for us, we're all ears. Do you have a timeline in mind for when you want this done?
Yeah. We're going to try to move tomorrow night. But don't worry. We don't expect you to do it. We're going to set everything up. We want... there's a few things you could do to help. In fact, you could pick if you want. One thing is, You can use your ship. Take off at night tomorrow night. Use your scanners to do a scan of the estate. Then tell the Startown controller that you have to go do a test run. Then you'll go pick up some weapons, meet us at a rendezvous point, pass off the information to our team. Then create a distraction. If you do that, we'll give you the location of the radioactives, and you're on your way. And he gets up and he says, now, I know that your ship's been through a lot. It would be so unfortunate if something were to happen to your ship after all this. And he leaves you. They all leave.
What was the choice?
Yeah, can we go over what was proposed initially and also what was just proposed now again, just for my clarity?
Like, so he says, tomorrow night, take your ship, take off, do a scan of the Masterston estate using the Scout courier sensors. Take that scan and come back to the Startown and claim that you have to go do a test run, but instead fly out to a rendezvous point where you'll land, pass off the information, and pass on some cargo, and then at that point they're going to give you some information about where the radioactives are, and then you're free to go. And then you just go pick it up, pick the cache up, and leave.
And then what was the thing about his daughter, about kidnapping his daughter?
They're going to do it.
Oh, okay.
I think we can agree to this. Seems like we have the easy job, to be honest.
I think he's bombed our ship.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
he definitely has attached something to our boat.
All right. So either way, you're going to agree and then maybe do it, maybe not do it, right? Okay.
Maybe.
They leave you there, and that is well, actually, one more thing. Give me a little more time. Because let's say that you all don't get killed doing this, and let's just say everything's just fine and peachy. Pick up the radioactives, don't, but you've got your ship and you're leaving, right? This would be a point on the checklist, because I'd like to kind of know what you're going to do here. At this point, you can. I need to revise this already, I see. What it ought to say is, go to the Starport Authority. Now, you can gain, there are kind of like two major places you could always go. Bars are the places where you pick up information and look around for patrons. So bars are where you do information. The Starport Authority is where you, the Starport Authority is where you gain nav data. And you can choose to purchase nav data and where you're going to go. And you'll get basic information from the Starport Authority about the place you're going. You're only going to get basic information. It may be out of date. So what I would ask is, let's say everything's all fine and peachy. I guess if you get the radioactives, you're going to Squalia, right? Because you want to make the money.
Well, just to be clear, we've agreed to it. Is he let us go? Are we free
Yeah, he
until
lets you
tomorrow
go.
night?
Yeah.
Gotcha. We don't actually intend on doing this job for them, so we're probably not going to get those radioactives. Sounds nice, would be cool, but we're not taking that job.
All right. They are going to try to kidnap the dictator's
I think
daughter.
what we're going to do is try to not use our own ship. Don't trust it right now. Get a ride from whoever else we need to. Get in touch with the authorities. Pass along word of this kidnapping plot, and also ask if a bomb squad could do a sweep of our own ship. The high-end real quick.
All right. Is everybody okay with that? Like, we don't have to work out the specifics right now, but generally speaking, you're going to try to work with the authorities. Yeah. Okay, so you're going to work with the authorities.
Amateur hour terrorists over here.
Yeah. Let's say everything works out, and so here you are in the Bowman Arm. Where do you want to go? Yeah.
We have
Well-
vouchers for Squalia, Bowman, Faldor, and 567908. I would say Squalia because it's out of our way, and we have a voucher for there. So that suggests, well, I know that's not the way you do things, but to me that suggests like we should go there.
Who
That's all I
me?
think.
I love it.
Yes.
No, I
Okay.
think it's great. Yeah, go anywhere you want.
Just to be clear, right now, ultimately, we want to get back to Startown Liberty to finish what we started and
Yeah.
deliver that secure message. You're just talking about our stop along the way?
Yeah, and usually if you have something like this and you're traveling for a job that's 5 jumps away or 4 jumps away or something, you can do work along the way. You could take 2 tons of cargo and take it to Bowman or to Faldor or wherever, you know. You could do the speculation game where you try to guess what they might need in a place based on the type of information you get and purchase cargo and then sell it. Or you can work for a flat rate, which I'll take care of, or carry mail. Or you can just go there since you have the voucher to see if you can get a patron, because you're going to travel for 1 week anyway. Every time you jump is 1 week. So
We've heard one argument in favor of Squalia, the home of seafood. Does anybody else have any strong proposals?
That sounds good to me.
all right.
I don't really want to go back to 567908. That place wasn't all that cool.
Are you going to kind of take a circuitous route then and go like Squalia, jump to Faldor, and then go to Flammarion? You have a jump to ship.
That would be an extra whole jump.
Well, you'll have to do an extra jump anyway going to Squalia.
Yeah,
Either,
that's what I
either
mean.
that or you have to go to 567908 and then Flammarion.
What about Faldor? Can we get there from where we are here in one jump?
Yeah, I mean, you could even take longer and you could go Squalia, Bowman, Faldor, and then Flammarion if you wanted.
I'm not trying to take longer, unless anybody else just wants to take our time with this. But that's like, we would turn this like 2-week job into a 2-month job if we do that.
You're on the government dime, so you'd be scamming them, but they agreed to pay for it.
Do they pay us based on how long it's going to take us to complete? Because I'm fine driving in circles if that's the case.
That's what the Autumn Gold did. Is they tarried around in a few places because they were on a government charter.
All right. As captain, I say we're charting a course for Squalia, and we're going to eat some fancy seafood.
All right, and then
Some
from there,
calamari.
which places do you go from there? I mean, it just helped. I guess you could.
Oh,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
didn't see you have the map here.
Yeah.
Then I guess Bowman.
You can do that.
Let's go the long way around. Do we have a drawing tool on here?
You should be able to draw. There should be a drawing tool.
Just so I'm clear, are we still gonna play through the talking to the authorities about the terrorist plot and everything? This is just like hypothetically, like if that goes well.
Yeah, I just want to get an idea in case you resolve that in like 5 minutes and it goes super well somehow. Like I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you traveling with kids, and like if that happens, then all of a sudden
How often do you think a counter-terrorist operation goes that way?
probably not, yeah. But just in case it's a soaring success like tonight was, where you're like all of a sudden the heroes, the planet, and everything, then it just gives me an idea. I already have like the stuff, and no matter where you go, but I'm just curious, I guess.
No, that makes sense. That does.
I can't find a drawing tool.
I could even give you like basic information about these places if you want. I'll just give you really basic from the Startown Authority. You get, let's see, Squalia is like Europa. It's a water planet with like different nations, a slightly lower tech level, and there's a lot going on there, and there's a larger population. So there's a better chance to make money here eventually. Bowman has a lot going on, and it's this kind of Wild West of like asteroids around a gas giant. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, like the Wild West. You can kind of do your own thing, and there's multiple different ports. Faldor is medieval Mad Max poison atmosphere world. But they have a classy starport. That means that you're probably not going to have as much money there, but you can do other things. Like you can find where you might stash goods in the future, or where you can find a getaway. Like this is kind of your wild planet. And then you've already been here. So those are the different.
We can jump 2 hexes or do 2 hexes in one jump.
Yeah, you could also just go straight to Faldor and then straight to Flammarion, and you could be done in 2 jumps.
Anybody else have any ideas based on that extra amount of detail?
And a jump is 1 week no matter what you do. So jump 1, jump 2, it's always 1 week.
I think that we ought to take advantage of the ship we have right now, especially because we have vouchers for fuel. As far as the trajectory of the game, I don't know if that matters, but that would, if I was in that situation, that's what I would think.
You can do anything you want. No, I'm serious. Like, go for it. Like, it's a sandbox. You can go anywhere you want. In fact, you could pay 10,000 credits and just go in the opposite direction. Go over here to Flexos. Like, do whatever you want.
Did we have a voucher for a stealth team?
No.
No?
That doesn't mean you can't pay 10k credits and go there, though.
I do want to say, out of character, the idea of adventuring in medieval Mad Max sounds great.
Yeah.
But no sane person would ever choose to go to any place that is described in one line as medieval Mad Max.
Okay, so we got vote for... It sounds like everybody's talking about taking the long way because it's paid for. So the truly long way would be to kind of go like this, I guess, if that's what you all want to do. All right.
That is what I would have drawn if I had a drawing tool.
I say let's do it. Yeah,
That sounds good to me.
Looks good.